I'm really intrigued to like be sober-ish for it. Like I don't really do events like that without alcohol.
It's true. And every time recently, the past however many years that I've gone to a comedy show, I wake up and I'm like, I think it was funny.
Oh, I mean, every time that Katie and I have been to these things, we've had 20 beers.
Everyone does. Yeah. I mean, Helium in Philly has a 2-drink minimum from the beginning. Like
Everybody does.
right. But I'm saying Helium's the one I typically would go to local.
Yeah.
They all have the minimum drinks.
Which
anyway,
is
hey,
so useless too, by the way.
It's so dumb.
I'm going to have way more than 2.
Yeah.
I usually get a bucket.
We're late. Don't blame me. Don't blame me. But we're here and we're talking baseball. We got let me fix this. Hold on. Jordan,
to be fair, you were the late one.
As we go. What's that?
You were the late one.
Not really.
Technically, you were the late one.
I was in Zoom at like 10:50.
I was in Zoom at 10:45, like I'm supposed to be.
Well, we're here, and we're talking baseball.
You know who wasn't going to be here?
Yeah,
me.
Jordan. So, if anything, I saved the day. Happy to have you guys here. Welcome to the Stochastic MLB Strategy Show. What are you doing?
Wiping dust off the top of my monitor.
If you don't mind, take a single second to atone for your sins this lovely morning. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Man, you know, it's funny. I realized on Saturday how many people so many people that watch Live Before Lock don't tune into the strategy show. Given the time they're working, whatever it may be. Someone was like, whoa, Laffy's on live, because I did Saturday Live Before Lock.
Oh, okay.
What kind of dirt does Greg have on me, you know?
For real, I didn't know you did that.
None, actually. What happened was he's like, hey, man, dude, Greg's amazing when it comes to filling in for people. Like, he'll fill in for anybody at any time, including me, all the time, you know? So he's like, hey, I have dinner plans, which we then speculated, was this a romantic event? I do not know. We must ask. We're going to see him on Friday.
I wonder what his name is.
We're going to see. We're going to see him on Friday.
We are.
And he's like, you know, Bellman's away and someone, you know, can't do it. So would you be able to do it? He's like, I'll do it, but I'd have to cancel my plans. I'm like, I'm not going to make you cancel your Saturday dinner plans.
No.
Yeah, but the thing about Greg is he would. And
yeah, I was around. I'm glad I didn't get asked.
Yeah, I didn't mind doing it. It's one. Anyway, people are like, oh, Laffy does baseball still? I didn't know he knew anything about baseball.
Like, I've been doing baseball for months.
Yeah. I started doing baseball like a decade ago. Like I started.
Did you start with baseball?
I don't remember. I'm gonna, like, as far as live, Dan Strafford and I did the podcast.
Yeah.
Right. The Fantasy Insiders podcast, the Breakfast of Champions, back, no joke, 2014. So a decade ago. And you just run the gamut. It's this, you know how it is. It's, you do football, you do basketball, you do baseball. And that's the way it was.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So we're here, but it's funny. I knew more people are going to watch Live Before Lock. It's, you know, there's so many people that aren't around in the morning, but you forget just how different the like viewer base actually is.
Oh, it's a completely different show.
Crazy. Same thing with like when I do Sunday Deeper Dive, which is basically Live Before Lock for football, compared to the Tuesday strategy show.
Oh, I mean, those are two completely different things. There are 4,000 people in there.
I love the Tuesday strategy show though with Ben. We have a good time. Anyway, we'll get into it. Let's talk some baseball. We are in August. I know we were in August when we did this the other day, but I kind of forgot. Like, we're August 5th already.
Time, man. Time.
The NFL preseason in earnest starts on Thursday, Josh. Again, I know you don't care, but to think, like, when football ends, you just go, at least me, you go, man, it's going to be forever until it's back. Basketball, a little bit less, like, man, we got to wait all this time for basketball. Basketball's what, 2.5 months away from the start of the season? 2.5 months.
Mid-October.
Yeah, mid-October. We're going to be in the thick of it, and I can't wait.
Glad you're excited.
You got to be excited for basketball. least.
Oh, I'm very excited for basketball. This is going to be an awesome season. NFL, on the other hand, wish it were over already.
It's so silly. It's so fun.
It's
I
so
can't,
not. It's the most frustrating sport by far.
hands down, but it's the one sport where when things go wrong, it's like, at least, and things go wrong often. I love that I have the afternoon slate. I love that I have the showdown slate just tilted away.
I agree there.
Like you can always try and claw your way back in the NFL every Sunday.
You can. You can.
And
That's the helpful
sometimes,
part. There's no limit. There's no shortage of contests and prize pools.
no, not at all.
Look, I play it. I mean, and I, to a degree, I enjoy the small field the single entry three max scene in the NFL is fun to me. The lottery tickets are the absolute dirt worst.
I don't play them anymore. I mean, I love
I don't bother.
the
What's the power
spy
sweep?
power sweep is great. The 153 max, the red zone, which is the $50, which is great. The single entry, because it's still 50K up top. The red zone or the spy, which is I think the $100 single entry, it's 100K up top. Like those, the 20, even the $27, I think it's the huddle, 25K up top. There's just massive, there's really massive prize pools for single entry and three max. And guess what? We're gonna have the single entry simulator. You were hitting me up this weekend using it.
Yeah, I built my 4 lineups completely independent of it. And I was like, I should cross-reference them in the single lineup tool. I loaded them all, each one of them individually into the single lineup tool, tested them all out. All 4 lineups that I got outside of the stochastic sim, all projected positively. It was great. I was very happy with it.
Well, we got a little promo running for anyone that wants to, get their hands dirty behind the scenes.
I've never wanted to get my hands dirty once in my entire life.
And I don't think you ever have, unless you're
No,
taking
these are the softest lady hands ever. I have a blister recently, but that's new.
I had a great, you missed my joke. That was a good joke.
What'd you say?
The only time you ever get your hands dirty is walking out of the bathroom.
That's true. Very true. Good joke too.
Anyway, let's get into it. Well, you're working out again now. You'll start to get calloused a little bit.
Oh, I ripped up my my hand already.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Yeah.
Become a man. Anyway,
I'm good.
We got 8 games on the slate today. Happy you guys are with us. Seriously sorry we got started late. Had a few things happening behind the scenes. We do our best every day to be at least, have some semblance of timeliness, but not today. But if you don't mind, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. You ever want to listen to us in podcast form, you know where to find it. Any podcast platform. Follow Josh at Josh Engleman, me at Laffy_D. And let's go. All right. So first up.
Yeah.
Top pitchers tool. And I ran the sims. We got the single lineup sim pulled up. We'll do that. We'll get to our homer picks as well. Tyler Glasnow against Philly. How about that ownership for Glasnow against the Philadelphia Phillies today? Phillies have not played well lately. They got swept by the Yankees. They dropped 2 of 3 to Seattle. Some really bad late game collapses from the bullpen, which has been really uncharacteristic of them, but they haven't looked good lately. No. But Glasnow, 53%. I mean, how much of this is more so an indictment on the slate itself when it comes to pitching, when Glasnow and then Aaron Nola against the Dodgers in the same game are the 2 highest owned pitchers on the slate?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. Glasnow in this particular spot looks great, and no other pitcher on the slate is even close to him in projection, and it's causing this really gigantic chasm where he's in half of the lineups we have, and it's largely justified. We have him 38% top 2 pitcher. I actually have him at 45%, but you want to call it 40. I think that's a pretty safe bet. That's a high likelihood of him hanging like a massive number. And the helpful part here, there are a couple pay down pitching options that you can pair with him that negate some of his cost. And I think that's helpful. But his strikeout prop today is 7.5. No juice either direction.
Just to be clear, though, and I agree with everything you said, but let's not fully bury the lead here. Pitching's not great. I mean, okay, Zach Gallen's a great pitcher. But he's got Cleveland. That's never an appealing matchup, especially for a guy that's, mid 8K. Also, I couldn't tell you why, but he has been better at home. You look at some of these other guys, like Logan Allen against Arizona, you're not paying that. Paxton against Kansas City. Kansas City has a total north of 5. Corbin against San Francisco. Who else? Who else do you look towards in a game like this? I mean, I'm just kind of combing through it. Hunter Brown's got a brutal matchup. He's almost 10K.
Shocked he starts today.
What's that?
Motherfuckers on every slate we talk about.
Oh, every time we talk. Yeah. Who's the
He's
one we
the
said is
inverse
never
of
on the
Shota
slate?
Imanaga. He's the opposite of Imanaga.
Yeah. Hey, we're talking David Festa and JP Sears territory today.
I am over the field on David Festa. He is not the only pay down option I am over the field on.
And it's not Sears?
It's not Sears. I have 3 of the 4 cheapest dudes on the slate are in 20% or more of my lineups.
I mean, it can't be Jonathan Cannon.
And he is the one that is not in my lineups.
Right. Is it Heaney?
It's Heaney, it's Festa, and it's Kyle Hendricks.
The only one I'm a little bit surprised that you don't have any of is Roger Munoz.
That's your boy.
That's the guy I try and target from a homer perspective. Sure.
But I do not have him.
I got to a lot of him last time we talked. You're right. On the early live before lock last week.
Why I told you he was your boy.
Forgot. And that was against Tampa, 6,600.
I have one lineup. The $5 knuckleball is back again today, so I've got 150 in that. Yesterday was the ball 4 for me, and I think that's going to be a path that I'm taking moving forward. But if they're going to run this $5 knuckleball out there, I'm going to let it rip.
Sure. I guess it's more concentrated with not great pitchers, cheap pitchers, than it is anything else.
Well, it's glass now. Then you get Nola and Webb are both around 20%. And then you have this pack of like 6 dudes, or at least 6 dudes. Hunter Brown, Zach Gallen, we'll even say Brady Singer, JP Sears, Heaney, Festa, Hendricks. They're all like in and around 10%. That's the bunch that gets really tricky.
Yeah. If Nick Martinez wasn't limited on a pitch count, I'd be considering him against Miami today.
Yeah, if you could give him another inning and a half or something like that,
he probably looked good.
I don't know about good, but certainly much better than you probably shouldn't roster him that he has right now. I mean, the real problem for him, no, I mean, he would just like, imagine if he knew he can get 15 outs against this shitty Marlins team.
Right. I mean, relative to the slate, he actually would look okay. I mean, there's not a lot here. It's a rough spot for Paxton. I don't love Paxton at all.
He is in 0% of my lineups, along with Nick Martinez, Jonathan Cannon, and Logan Allen. That's 0 of 150, so that carries some weight.
Carries a ton of weight.
Yeah.
And I would assume that just a ton of glass now.
I have 50%. I'm right with the field.
Yeah. Cannon has a 15.8% strikeout rate. There's a guy at AAA that had a 21% K rate, which is, a below average number at the major league level.
They should make him change his name.
They should.
Because this man does not have a cannon. He's got like a BB gun. Jonathan BB gun.
The only one that's cheap, that's getting little ownership that I think is probably viable is Munoz. He's not exciting, but Cincinnati does have strikeouts in this lineup.
They do.
I try and look at it this way. Like if I'm pinning him up against some of the other guys on this slate that are getting ownership, you have Andrew Heaney, who's essentially the same price. Heaney's fine. The strikeouts are okay. He's about a K per inning guy, but this is not a good strikeout matchup at all. Terrible strikeout matchup. He's faced them 3 times this year. He's coughed up. Yeah. He's coughed up 10 runs in 12 innings with 8 strikeouts.
Houston has the second lowest active strikeout rate against lefties this year, 17%, and they're hitting 110 WRC plus. This is a horrific spot for Heaney. So happy he's in 20% of my lineups.
Pull up Cincinnati versus righties.
I've
I
got
can
it
do
right
it
here.
right now. I thought you might have it with you.
I already have it. 23.5% K rate is 10th. Only a 92 WRC plus though, so they have
They have
struggled.
not been good against righties. Yeah.
92 WRC plus is 24th.
305 weighted on base average is 21st.
You can get your boy
164.
Munoz again.
Just saying. 164 ISO is 10th, but this is also in Miami and not Cincinnati. So that's clear advantage Munoz.
Yeah, I mean that we are talking about like two polar opposite parks.
I'm just throwing stuff out there, you know.
I get it.
Yeah, when I'm presented with Andrew Heaney as a legitimate viable option, getting more than twice as much ownership as Munoz right now, I'm going to look elsewhere. Not look elsewhere, but I want to see if there are other options. And I think this would be one of them.
Just, I don't know how I get to him. I think I'll end up with way more of Festa and Hendricks than anything else by the time this day ends, which doesn't make me feel better.
Where do we have their top two pitcher odds?
Festa and Hendricks?
Yeah, just all of these guys.
So, Festa is at 8% top two pitcher, and Kyle Hendricks is at 8% top two pitcher.
All right, so is Munoz. Yeah.
I'm guessing I have a dramatic. Yeah, I have it at 6.
Yeah, we have him at 7.6, so that's 8%. It's the same thing. How much Sears are you getting to? Because he's not bottomed out from a salary standpoint, but he's also in a good matchup against the White Sox in Oakland.
I only have 7%. I don't ever get him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like he just doesn't, I guess just doesn't have the projectable strikeout rate. And I don't know, based on whatever White Sox lineup I have projected in right now. I mean, it's whatever one we have too, but not a lot of strikeouts in this lineup in comparison to what we've seen a lot lately for the White Sox.
It's true. No, they're bad, but they're not one of the highest strikeout teams in the league.
They are middle of the pack against lefties. Now they're terrible, like 87 WRC plus. That was never going to be good. Like there's no, whatever sample you want to try to find for the White Sox this year, it's going to paint them as like having been bad. That part we know, but at least from a strikeout perspective, whatever lineup we have in right now doesn't appear to be the same sort of incredible benefit we've seen over this 20 game losing streak.
Agreed. Listen to this though. Sears had, back in like mid to late June, he had 2 starts back to back, home and home, one on the road. So I won at home against Minnesota. -4 DraftKings points, then -18. Got shelled, right? Gave up 12 runs and 5 2/3 combined innings with 2 total strikeouts in those starts. Oof. Listen to his strikeout totals over his last 6 starts. At Arizona, good against lefties, doesn't strike out. 6 Ks. At the Angels, they are better against lefties. They do not strike out a ton against lefties. 6 Ks. At Boston, 8 Ks. Versus the Angels, 4 Ks. Versus Houston, 3 Ks. Or at San Francisco, 9 Ks. So he has
Can I pause you quickly?
Please,
it's about what you just said.
Go ahead.
The 2 games that you mentioned that he had that were really good, Boston and San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
3rd in strikeout rate against lefties, 4th in strikeout rate against lefties. The Angels are near the bottom. Everybody else you were naming when they weren't great starts were near the bottom. But it was very interesting that you mentioned Boston and San Francisco, and those 2 teams were near the top.
And he paid it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did have, he had 6 against the Angels, 6 against Arizona. I'm just wondering if there's anything different here. Because, this guy had 3 straight starts with 1 strikeout. Granted, San Diego, Minnesota, that's not easy, but neither are some of these other spots. I don't know. What's the total? Let's see what the totals here are on the White Sox today.
8.5. 3. I have it at 3.7 for the White Sox.
Pretty low.
It is very low. Look, the park is helping out a lot here.
Big time.
That's going to carry a lot of weight. The White Sox against lefties. Oh my God, Miami's so bad. So like the White Sox against lefties, 146 ISO is like, essentially middle of the pack. Do you care to guess what the Miami Marlins ISO is against lefties right now? Active roster.
It's got to be like 115.
That would be enough to get them out of the bottom, but they are at 0.088.
No way.
A 61 WRC plus.
Active roster versus lefties.
Yeah. I don't like that's
Oh
not
my
that that's
God.
relevant for today. It's just I have the lefty stuff up for Sears.
What about the Marlins versus it doesn't matter because they're going up against the guy that
I mean, they're not good either way, but 088 ISO is
jeez.
Oof. They have a 207 average. They have a 295 slug. They don't even have a 300 slug.
No, we've said it. They're not even real. Some of these people.
They are against lefties. The Marlins. Oh my God. Slugging percentage. 68 points behind 29th.
Yeah.
The Tigers are at 363 slugging. The Marlins are at 295.
And it doesn't even matter because what are you supposed to do with that today?
I mean, nothing, I guess. I don't know. It's not actionable, really, because there's no benefit to taking Nick Martinez.
Exactly. Plus,
the most amazing Nick Martinez start is still like probably not the best value option today. He'd have to strike out 9 of 12 batters or something.
Right. He'd have to do something. Even if you go 4 innings with 4 no-hit innings with 5 Ks, I could live with that.
Yeah.
But
you kind of got to expect that he's not even going to get the win.
Correct. I have 15% Sears. I like him though. I mean,
I don't hate him. I just don't have him.
Right.
Clearly I would have absolutely no issue whatsoever getting whatever JP Sears against the team that's lost 20 straight games.
Of course.
They're
Wait,
dog
is that
shit,
real?
dude. Yeah, the 20 yesterday was 20.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, they had Ozzie Guillen and Frank Thomas on like the post game show. I was just like, oh man, these guys must just want to tell them they all blow.
I have Heaney too, but I don't fully understand. What do you? Is it very simply just the fact that Andrew Heaney at that price point offers us strikeout upside that those other guys don't?
I think a little bit of that for sure.
22.6% K rate, which is essentially league average.
He's a really hard one to talk about because clearly the spot is dreadful. The team's good. There's no strikeouts. I don't want him to look. I think 6,400 for Heaney is really carrying a lot of weight.
And for what it's worth, Houston has a 4.2 run implied total. That's got to be factoring into this as well. They don't have a very high total at all.
What do you have? What did you see it at?
4.2. What do you see it at?
I have it at 4.8.
4.8?
Yeah. But even at 4.8, I'm getting Heaney.
Yeah.
So
we have it at 4.1. You're seeing 4. Hold on, let me see.
Yeah, I grabbed this like 2.5 hours ago. So like
it has come down. I looked at the movement on it. From where I was looking at it, I saw 4.5 to 4.2.
I'm gonna grab every updated line right now and just throw it in. So we're talking about the same shit.
Yeah, I assume it just came down a little bit, even if you've still got it a little bit high.
I mean, that's just gonna make me like him more, so that's not helpful.
Right. He's a K per inning guy at home. I mean, really everywhere. He's a 23% strikeout guy. That's who he is. In a spot that is not conducive to strikeouts whatsoever with Houston.
Yeah, my line still hasn't moved. I still have 4.8.
All right.
We'll see.
Then what do you have the money line
at? They're slight favorites.
Okay. Because I have all right. You have Houston as a slight favorite.
Hold on. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah. I got 4-8 Astros, 4-5 Rangers.
Okay. Yeah, it's basically a pick 'em. It's a toss up right here.
Yeah, 50. I have it 51% Astros. So
yeah, I shouldn't say pick 'em, but it's a toss up. Yeah. All right. Anyway, I don't really think there's anything else for pitching.
no, I mean, like, obviously the Glass now Nola piece of this, they're pulling like 70% ownership combined. It, that one feels like a real wild card of everything, but they're probably the two best options today.
Not
I mean, you
even
feel
based on,
Logan Webb is a scary one just because it's like 200 degrees in DC today.
I wish Festa could throw more than 80 pitches. 78, 81, 73. That was in relief, a long reliever, and then started against the Mets. Went 5-2, had a nice game. That was the game you and I that we really liked power from that game. Winds were blowing out like 18 to left field. Remember that? And it ended up being a 2-0 game. He only threw 68 pitches, only faced 19 batters. It's a shame because if you want to talk strikeout rates, this dude's got legit strikeout stuff. Like you go back to AAA, talking about this year in AAA, 60 innings, 35% K rate. With the Twins, he has a 25% K rate. He's only walking 4.5% of batters. These are good numbers for a guy at that price point. 12% swinging strike rate. I'm inclined to just not care and hope that he can give me 80 pitches because what's the Cubs K rate versus righties this year? I'm pretty sure it's up there. It's
middle of the pack.
It's come down a little bit on the active roster. Well, they made some moves, so that makes sense. But still, they are across the board just a totally average team against righties.
Yep. 103 WRC plus, middle of the pack K rate. Park is fine. Limits lefty power. That's probably a little bit helpful. Yeah, I fessed in for just shy of 5 innings. What you're really hoping for is that he can get through 5. Because if he gets through 5, then you're probably feeling pretty good.
This is amazing. They are actually, Josh, they're actually 15th in strikeout rate, WRC plus, weighted on base average, and ISO. They are exactly 15th.
Just dead average.
As average as you could possibly get. How about that? Yeah, they're average.
Invest is only 6,100. It's a decent price. Look, I have 18%. I like it.
I like it too. 6,100. He's getting 11% ownership. So we have him slightly negatively leveraged, but we also have him with the second highest value score of any pitcher on the slate. Third, sorry. Third or fourth. Third, right? Third, yeah. Still, I like it. What before we go to stacks, and I want to build a lineup in that. This will be our way to work through stacks. Build one out in the single lineup simulator.
Hell yeah!
I used it on Sunday. I used it on Saturday, great. And
it's fucking great.
It brought me back to like the days where you hand build. Like it brought me back to the kind of beginning. Except now it's like I actually have the new age version to I can check. I can grade my lineups instantly.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing.
And then when you're hand building them, even if they don't pass, you're like, all right, well, I know that I'm building these lineups. Now I'm using them in conjunction with the top stacks tool, with ownership, top hit, all that stuff. And I'm building them out that way, which, I would recommend anybody do, but it's been a lot of fun. So we'll do that. I just need you to talk me through Hendricks a little bit here. And why you think you're getting so much of him, if it's just a price point thing.
Strikeout rate looks really good for Minnesota, although in the grand scheme of things, it's not. Active roster, 20% K rate. I think they project better, at least based on the lineup that I have in here right now. So what that lineup ends up being will be important. They've mashed righties. That's not helpful. They've been playing well. That's not helpful at all. Hendricks is terrible. None of this feels good, but he's 5,900 and he does have the ability to go deeper into a game. If the runs aren't scoring for Minnesota, you can get there out of volume from Kyle Hendricks. And at 5,900, I think you can do that. And I think he pairs really well with Tyler Glass now. The floor is low. Let's be very clear here. It is Kyle Hendricks. There's a reason he's the lowest price pitcher today. But I kind of like that value if this lineup maintains some of these heavy strikeout guys. In particular, Matt Wallner being in the lineup will be huge.
Man, this guy stinks.
Hendricks, yeah, there's not. Yeah, I don't have a single redeeming quality for him today, and yet he is my third most exposed pitcher.
We got to do one more thing before we
Okay.
move on to stacks. Before we move into the single lineup sim and look over some of the tools here.
What's that?
I think so. We talked about Cannon.
Cannon.
I think Kai Busch is projected to start now. Let me just check.
I don't even know who that is.
He's being called up from AAA. No, MLB still has Cannon. Okay.
Yeah.
I just read that Busch is expected to be called up and start Monday's contest on the road against the Athletics.
It's Kai Busch on Fangraphs now.
There you go. So let me just, I don't know a dick about this guy, but let me.
Number 14 prospect. He's nothing from a prospect perspective. 19% K rate in 2 starts in AAA, 25 in 14 starts in AA. Has a good slider, has a good curveball. People can sit on the fastball. Got drafted 2 years ago.
Now here's the thing, Josh. He's also minimum salary.
He will be very popular if it's him.
If it's him, I think that I'm going to end up having a ton of Oakland.
Okay.
I wanted to drag that out a little bit there.
I'm going to have a ton of Busch. I'm going to switch to him and see what I have him projected for if he's in.
Do you know what Oakland's active roster ISO is against lefties this year?
I'm going to guess it's low.
Take a guess.
Say what are the qualifications again?
Oakland Athletics ISO versus lefties. Of course, active roster.
181.
And where do you think it ranks?
Second.
All right. It ranks first. It is 220. He is a lefty. They strike out, so I don't think it's, I don't think at minimum salary that Kai Busch would be a terrible play. Oakland has the 5th highest K rate versus lefties. But they have a 329 weighted on base average, which is which is 8th, a 117 WRC plus, but which is 7th. All we care about is power. 220 ISO versus lefties for this Oakland Athletics team. Let me tell you, man, this team, we've seen it more times than a couple, even at home. They have won tournaments and they're not expensive. Outside of Brent Rooker, the next closest, most expensive player is Langoliers at 4,100. And then you're getting into like Miguel Andujar, who has been solid, 3,900. I don't know exactly what this lineup will look like if they're facing a lefty. Point is, they're cheap. They're really, really cheap. And this is a guy who you mentioned has a pedestrian K rate at the minor league level. Gets a lot of ground balls. At least he did a little. Yeah. I'm intrigued. This guy's given up a lot of power. Look at his home run per fly ball rate.
So he projects really poorly in Steamer, 16% K rate, 10% walk rate, 5.1 FIP. I gave him 5 innings, 3.5 strikeouts, 10.8 fantasy point projection at 4K, 4% top 2 pitcher, 42% top 2 value.
Okay. Still love Oakland if he starts.
I have his implied ownership around 6%. So I don't know. I don't think that I would get too much. I can tell you this. My top stack odds didn't really move on Oakland making that switch.
That's crazy.
Is it?
I think so.
Is it? I mean,
They have a 5-run implied total in Oakland.
Oh yeah, I'm with you there, but like I don't think switching from Cannon to Bush is like all like I think that's relatively neutral of a move, like a slight bump. It's not like they're moving from good to Bush, it's just Cannon to Bush. So I don't think that there's that much of a change for Oakland, other than
So
getting that benefit of the lefty power.
I kind of agree, but not entirely. Like Cannon hasn't been good. He also has actually been more serviceable than you'd think from just an overall run prevention standpoint. Like he hasn't been, he's been fine. That's what he's been. He's been fine. He just doesn't get strikeouts. He doesn't get strikeouts, but this, he's gone 6+ innings and 5 straight starts. He doesn't strike guys out. He also isn't giving up immense amounts of power. 9 home runs in 70 innings is whatever. This is a lefty that's getting thrown to the wolves against a team that destroys lefties. So I agree.
Yeah.
This isn't like this isn't a glass now and now it's Kai Bush. Of course not. Right. It's still bad to bad, but I do think it's bad to quite a bit worse.
Yeah, the gap in projected FIP between the two guys is about 0.2 of a run. So it is getting worse, no doubt about that.
Anyway,
and look,
keep
maybe
an eye
this will
on
move
that.
the line a little bit. Maybe that'll move the A's up like a tenth of a run or 0.2 of a run or something, and that'll bump their top stack odds up like another percentage point.
I'm a sucker though for when it comes to stacking the A's for what it's worth. I love stacking that A's team because not everyone, but people just tend to think they're terrible all the time because they strike out a lot. But
well, the park is their limiting factor. If they're going to play 81 games in a park that negates power like that, I think that's the main reason. Well, not to mention like they're also not very good, but I think you just run out, like you don't get a lot of A's because 81 games out of the year, like you're just in a park that's not going to be as helpful as other places.
Right, but again, let me just go back to they have the 8th highest ISO at home this year.
Yeah, I mean, some of these guys, it doesn't matter what park they're in.
Pretty amazing though, right? Like of all of these teams, many of them play in pitcher friendly or hitter friendly parks. The A's are 7th in ISO and WRC plus if you just take them at home this year. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
They have power.
They do.
Where are they in home runs? Let's see. Let's just assume that all of these teams have played let's all assume they've played a close same amount of. Yeah, they're essentially 10th in home runs.
They're 4th
at home.
Oh, I just meant in general.
Oh no. Oh, dude, in general, yeah, this team they live and die by the long ball. It's crazy.
Yeah, they're 9th, tied for 8th.
Yeah,
at home.
Pretty good. Anyway,
yeah, which is it's really crazy to think about it because the Giants are dead last in home runs at home at 48. Like that's what you would kind of expect out of Oakland. That's just not the case.
Like where's Seattle? 21st,
19th.
And they have power hitters. So yeah. So okay, sorry for derailing us, but if it is in fact Kai Bush, we got to talk about it. So
we do.
Want to get into some stacks here? Get into some bats?
Let's do it.
All right. First off, appreciate all you guys hanging out with us on a Monday. Hopefully you had a good weekend, by the way. We've got a little promo going right now. We got the single entry simulator. We've had a ton of questions and a lot of like positive feedback on that. I think everyone, I love it. Josh has been using it. Someone that like automates his entire process. He's been using this. Obviously for football, it's going to be insane, but we got a promo going right now. 25% off any week or any month of any package. Any week or any month of any package. It's good through Wednesday. So you got today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, right? With the if you're looking to get the single entry simulator, we're going to demo it, show you right now. We've been doing it on every show. And if you have any lineups that you want us to run, we'll throw them in there as well. We can have some fun with that. 25% off. You want to do a week or you want to do a month. The data package. So when you click the link in the description, you'll see this, right? You go into the description. Jordan could throw them in the chat as well. You'll see like 25% off Sims weekly, Sims monthly, or data. So the data one is the less expensive one that gets you a version of the Sims, but it gets you the full lineup, single lineup sim, and then all of the other MLB tools as well. So you don't need to go to the full top. Either way, you're getting 25% off any package. If you've been on the fence waiting to check them out, it's a good time. It's a good time to do it. I think you guys will love this. Dude, I know you're not a big football guy, but I can't wait to use it for football. Can't wait to use it for football.
It's gonna be great. I mean, I don't play any of the bulk entry stuff, so I'll be running all of my lineups
That's what I
through
mean.
it after I build them. Yeah,
me too. I love the single entry 3 max for football, but for baseball as well. Plus, you can do large field for this, and you can put the payout up to 25 or 30%. So even if you're someone that likes to play the huge 150 max contest, but only wants to put 3 lineups into it, you can use the same tool, So
yeah.
We'd love to have you guys check it out. Also, join our Discord. Say what's up. If you have questions, we're always happy to answer them. We already have tutorials on this stuff for everything, but 25% off anything. If you want to jump in, link in the description, we'll get you there. Just pick the one you want, whether it's a month, a week, whether it's the full package or the data package. Want to build a lot? Let's do it. I want to try building an A's, but the problem is that I don't think we have Ty Bush in right now, do we?
No.
All right, so we're not going to do that because I think even if you don't think it makes a huge difference, it would make enough of a difference. So give me right now your top 5 stacks, and I'll give you mine, and then let's see where we land.
Okay, I'm moving the windows around so I can see the sim and shit better. Give me 1 second. Okay, so my number 1 stack right now is the Giants. My number 2 stack is the Phillies. My number 2 stack is the Astros. My number 3 stack is the Phillies. Do any of those 3 line up with you?
Well, it's funny. Einsteinium earlier, and I missed it. Sorry, dude. Get it now. Had a super chat, and we appreciate you, man. Good morning, fellas. Sorry to put the cart before the horse, but wanted to get your thoughts on Nola and a Philly mini stack for negative correlation against the Glass Now ownership in single entry. Interesting. I don't know how much correlation plays a role with Nola there, unless you're talking like, well, Nola gets the win, but even in that case, that's tough. I think, unless you think differently here, Josh, I think the correlation is the negative correlation is the Philly stack, and not so much pairing them with Nola.
No, the Nola piece is mostly irrelevant to all of that. But
Nola is the second highest owned pitcher right now, for what it's worth, Einsteinium.
Yeah. I mean, I just always sort of have a little bit against these heavily owned pitchers, and Glass is going to be no difference here. So, that's sort of why I'm getting to the Phillies, but that's just the way that I play large field like this.
So your answer is, yeah, Philly stacks fine in a spot like this.
Yeah, for sure.
There are
the Astros right now are the team that I think is the most interesting from where their ownership is.
Yeah, and Heaney getting 13%.
Yeah, we have the Astros at 6% top stack. I have it at 9. This is the team that I have the biggest gap on.
How much Phillies are you getting right now?
9%.
Okay, so nothing, not to make or break your day, but a decent amount.
2x the field.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Field.
How about this, man? So I run the Sims. This is going to be really interesting when we figure out what things look like based on Chicago. My most exposed stack second most is Kansas City. Third most is Cincinnati. That would be actually against Roger Munoz, which is fine.
I have 8% of both of those teams, so it's not like I'm not with you there.
Because he does give up a ton of power. So, I'm always happy to be on both sides of that one. Always. Kansas City against Paxton. Number 1 is Oakland. And we have Gannon right now. Or Cannon, sorry.
I have 5%. It's not like I don't have them.
So what do you want to build here?
You said Royals, Reds, and A's for you?
Royals, Reds, A's are, kind of far and away my 3 most. San Francisco is below them against Corbin.
Let's do the Reds, since we know that your boy Munoz likes to give up some dongers.
Perfectly fine with that. Again, I think Munoz is a decent contrarian option with no ownership. But but he gives up 2.6 home runs per 9. So yeah, let's do it. All right,
So
Jordan, go ahead.
park factors in Miami, 83 park factor to righties for power, 92 to lefties. I think the first focus should be seeing what lefties we want to grab from Cincinnati. We've got Ellie. If we want to just grab it right out of the gate, I assume we do.
Let's do it. Yeah.
All right. Ellie De La Cruz. Next lefty is TJ Friedel, 4,100 outfield. I see no reason to avoid that.
Saw a comment earlier. Ryan said, such a lofty thing to not know that. LOL, you are the best, Dave. I wonder if he's talking about me not knowing that the White Sox lost 20 straight. Sometimes I just tune that stuff out. Maybe
I don't pay attention to results.
Yeah.
I don't like the outcome of the game. I only care about runs. Like they could lose 20 straight, but if they scored 10 runs and I stack them, I'm happy. If they scored 1, then I'm not.
Correct. I also don't know if that's what he was referring to. It could have been something else I didn't know, which is entirely possible. Jordan, can you do me a favor? When you get a second, look through the comments. There was someone mentioning, and I was, oh, here it is from Jake. Lavi, did you see my previous message about the optimal total column being wrong in the top pitchers tool? No, I didn't. Oh, opponent total. Sorry.
Jordan, this is to you, and it has nothing to do with like moving forward. We should think about doing a view for this with us stacked. We might be able to get a little bit more screen real estate and make it a little bit easier for people to see.
Jake's right, though. The total is off there. What happens is when we scrape them from where we grab them from, they'll be messed up there. And then
so we changed everything on the back end over the last week or so, moved to a different model, and we're pulling data differently. I think that's just a mapping issue and can be fixed really quickly.
Trying to see.
I think it's only a visual thing for the site and not necessarily anything for the projections themselves. So,
okay, so we're good as far as like
yeah.
Okay.
I think it's cosmetic and nothing else.
Okay, cool. And I'm looking. Yeah. Okay.
So I put Ellie De La Cruz and TJ Friedel in so far. They're the two lefties. Candelario will be hitting from the left side in this spot as well. He's second base, third base, 4,100. I think we want to put him in there, but it sort of just depends on whether or not we were using India or Marte as a second base or a third base along with it. So who else do you like? Who else do you want to make sure you're getting in this lineup?
Let's see.
To me, I have a pretty clean 2 more dudes to put in. I think Candelario and India should both go in. And then I think Stevenson should be the last. That gives us second base, third base, and catcher. Okay. And it keeps everybody in it gives us 5 of the top 6.
I'm all right with that. I'm yeah, and I was gonna say, like, what about a Jake Fraley? But here's the thing about him. He has a 0.076x ISO against righties. So it's not even like this is a good, because sometimes getting lower in the order is helpful. Just to be a little bit different. But all right, so who did you say? India?
Put in India at second. Candelario at third. And Tyler Stevenson at catcher. That leaves us first and 2 outfields to fill in, which is about as ideal as you can get for filler, and then the 2 pitchers.
It's also not that expensive of a stack outside of Ellie.
No. And if you're trying to buy, like outside of a stack, if you're trying to buy home runs, filling in your final 3 spots with first outfield, we should be able to put together a hell of a lineup here. So the question now becomes, what do we want our 2-man pitching combo to be?
All right. Well, it's not Munoz.
No. I want to try one thing first.
Go ahead.
Put in Glasnow and Nola.
And see what we're left with?
Yep. Is that 2,800? The numbers are blurry on my screen, so yes. I think that's 2,800.
Correct. That's impractical.
Yeah. So we know that's... Could we do that? Yeah. We're not going to have any problem finishing a lineup averaging 2,800 at first, outfield. However,
Festa gives us 3,700 per player.
I think that's the move.
Want to go Festa here? I'm fine with...
Yep.
Festa, yeah. Those
Festa Glass
teams
now?
with Glass now, yes. With
Yeah,
Glass.
yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Gives
make
us
that Festa.
37 per player. That's not bad at all.
Not in the slightest. We can really fill out something powerful here. Oh, by the way, we should say this. The lineup that we built on the show on Friday that we couldn't run because we had to fix that little bug where we couldn't put people in the right spot ended up being like positive 30% ROI when we ran it after the show.
No, it was like 47.
Is that what? All right, even better.
Yeah, it was a massive ROI. But then what happened is, who was it? The pitcher got swapped out and it was moot anyway.
Yeah.
Who was that? I guess it doesn't matter, but oh yeah, we made an Atlanta Cincy one, and then Harrison ended up being Blake Snell, who threw a no-hitter, so it was moot anyway.
There you go.
And then the Reds put 6 runs on Harrison the next day.
First base and 2 outfielders.
Do we want to go 5-3 here or work our way through it? Maybe a 5-2-1.
We'll figure that out as we go, I think.
Well, let's think of a 2-man stack at least then that fits here.
Well, what I'm trying to do right now is figure out what the best first baseman is and then see if there's anybody to combine him with. The first guy that I wanted to look at, I don't really love, but he is the guy that's showing up the best and saves some salary, and that's Josh Bell. But you got Logan Allen on the opposite side.
Okay.
I don't know how you feel about Josh Bell. He's just a guy that I'm getting to the grades out really well at first.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
I'm not married to that. It's just the first name that I saw.
And even if we wanted to get cheap, you have a few guys in here that are projecting well with very low price points, but yeah, like Seth Brown, he's not even going to be in the lineup if it ends up being Ty Bush. I was going to say, because he projects well at 2,400, but that's lefty righty. Maybe he's in the lineup, but either way, lefty, I'm out on that. You want to go Josh Bell here?
I'm going to take a look at something quickly. So 192 X ISO to righties against Logan Allen this year. That's a big benefit. Bell 211 X ISO against lefties over the last year and a half. Yeah, I'd like to go Josh Bell here at 3,300.
Okay.
The question then becomes, do you like anybody else from Arizona?
Yeah, I figured that's what was coming next. Yes.
You have your boy Gurriel at 4,300. Randall Grichuk at 3,400. Or Corbin Carroll at 52.
Well, if you go Gurriel and Randall Grichuk, you have $100 left. That's a 5-3 Cincy, Arizona. Not terrible.
Do you want to just see what it looks like?
Sure. You know, the only thing I hate about stacking against Cleveland is they have such an elite bullpen, but we can run it anyway. Let's
see what it looks like.
Wait, Jordan, before you run that, do we want to do small contest? What do we want to do for pool size and payout? It matters for what we're going to get.
Let's do large contest, 25%. Let's treat this like it's a big contest.
I agree. Yeah. Correct.
I don't think we would want this. I don't think I would want Grichuk in this spot, righty against Logan Allen. But there's power there, at least. You get once Grichuk projects with some power. Probably doesn't bat a lot though. Like he's very likely to get pinch hit once Logan Allen comes out. Okay. Plus 16%.
It's not bad. That's not great. And we have something in the works, by the way, where we're going to have all of this context installed for you guys so you can see, you'll have more context around. Let's run one more before we go.
I'd like to, if we can we take out Grichuk and take out Gurriel? I'd like to keep Bell as the one-off, and let's try to find two best outfielders we can find somewhere.
Works for me.
Because I really like Bell today. So now we need a combo of outfielders from some team. And we have what? Around 4K a piece?
Yeah. Not a great price range at all.
Well, you can go 5-3.
What
Like,
do you
how do
mean?
you feel about? I just don't have another good outfielder. I liked Lou Bob at 4,400 here against Sears. Um, there's not another outfielder that we could really bring him along with. Red Sox. That's a good game to target.
It's a really good game to target.
I like Yoshida here at
What about
4K
What about Renfro? I think Renfro looks good.
for the Royals.
Yeah,
The
against
problem is we
Paxton.
don't really have another outfielder to bring along with him if we wanted to go for a 5-2. We might have to go if we want to do that, we would be going 5-1-1.
Right. Because Blanco would be the only other guy, right? Garrett
Yeah.
Hampson. All these guys are kind of towards the bottom of the order. And I don't
Uh,
think of, yeah, you know what? I don't think that's crazy to get Renfro to get a piece of that game on both sides.
okay. I like that. Do you want to do Renfro and now we're not gonna be able
Sheeta?
to do it.
Why not?
Are,
It
are we gonna
zeroes
hit it
out.
at 50? Oh, it's 50K. I thought it was gonna be 50. I thought we were gonna be over by 100.
4K and 3,800. It zeroes out.
You are right.
22%. I like
It
I
already
like that
wait, oh,
lineup
did
a
you run
lot.
it already?
Yeah, on my end. I'm plugging
You
them in
son
on
of a
my
bitch.
side
It's
of my.
spoiler alert, man.
Now, granted, you're going to get slightly different results, like from me to Jordan to Josh, but because
Yeah.
the pool, the contest is going to look different, like the pool that we've generated. But it's all,
It's 12:07. When did that happen?
yeah, I know. I like this lineup a lot. This might be one I dabble.
Yoshida.
I might dabble here. I like it.
Run that bad boy, Jordan.
25% off, guys, if you jumped in late. The data package or the Sims package, a week or a month. Links down there. This is fun. It's kind of it's like you're pulling a slot machine, you know, you're
I like it.
me too.
I like it.
I can't wait to see what happens. Let's just say Bush is starting and we update.
Yeah.
Am I still going to be getting that much Oakland, or is Oakland ownership going to come up and I'll get less?
Yeah, it's an interesting balance of how that all will work out.
You want to get out of here or you want to try one more? What do you want to do?
Let's get out of here. I got Odd Shopper live,
Oh,
baby.
that's right.
Live on the Odd Shopper channel right now.
That's right. Going to be hitting pick 'em, round robin, all of that stuff, parlays. And hopefully you'll have some underdog plays in there for the people, because if you're not on underdog, you're getting that 50% match up to $250. It goes into your account immediately. They got like 20 million in best ball contests. They got the daily drafts, the weekly winners, but also pick 'em where you can up to 20 extra money. And we've got all the pick 'em tools on Odd Shopper that Josh is going to go over right now. Link to underdog down there. Find him on YouTube on the Odd Shopper channel. Find him on Twitter or X. Live show coming up right after this. Appreciate you guys hanging out as always. Hopefully we'll see some new names, some new faces in the Discord hanging out with us. If not, we'll see you back here tomorrow for another edition of the Strategy Show. Peace.